Hello and welcome to another of the random comic vlogs on, well, me and Courtney watching Hulu's Marvel's Runaways. I'm awake, I swear. And this was episode 3, Destiny. I really do wish they continued the R thing. Episode 1 was Reunion, second one was Rewind, and now Destiny. But of course, we all knew that this was going to happen because her name was Destiny, so for obvious reasons, she was going to become pivotal pivotal to the Runaways' destiny. And honestly, this is the first episode that I would say is legitimately straight out, no holds barred, good. There's tension between the kids and the parents. Alex is still a great actor. Alex really does hold, and that's kind of the problem that I have with this.
I really like Nico though too.
Well, the problem is that Alex is the only one that has a personality outside of his trope. Nico is definitely written to be, and all this whole thing, your kind of standard Asian teen goth girl, which just
well with it.
None of the actors are bad. I will get to Molly in a second because this episode really annoyed me on Molly. It made me realize why I dislike Molly Hernandez versus Molly Hayes from the comic. But anyways, before we get to that, I do want to be positive. This is a good episode. The Pride stuff is still fantastic, and honestly, the reason I personally watch is because of the Pride stuff, not because of the kid stuff, because the kid stuff sucks when compared to the source material.
Yeah.
But this is inspired by, not, adapted from or based on. It's not trying to tell the same story, or rather, it is trying to tell the same story, just with everything else different.
So,
yeah. Don't have a lot to say?
It's like Hulu's way. I don't know.
The Hulu way.
Yeah. I don't know. With Molly...
Well, you said
Does she realize that all her destructiveness, comes at a price? She shouldn't always be destroying things.
Well,
especially that bathroom. Do you know how much that's gonna cost to,
that bathroom,
restore?
That bathroom.
That's ridiculous.
That bathroom scene is actually what made me realize that Molly, the actor, may be younger, maybe several years younger than the other kid, the other actors.
Yeah.
But Molly looks only to be a year younger than everyone else. Whereas in the comics, she was 8, 9 versus everyone else being 15, 16. So when she would do some wanton destruction, and then get all adorably tired because using her power makes her nap, not narcoleptic. Sorry, it seems like
it was very narcoleptic. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's like literally walk. Yeah, I'm dead now. Whereas before it was literally her just exerting and going, oh man, I'm so tired, kind of a thing. And then falling asleep. But with the age that Molly Hernandez is in this versus Molly Hayes in the books, Molly Hernandez should know better. I get that they're trying to still, she's what, 12 or 13 in this?
Yeah. It said that she was over 12. She has to be at least 13.
Yeah. So, and I understand that Gert and the Yorks are not exactly helpful to development. Her adopted family in this, because actually I do like the beginning of this episode. We do see, the Hayes or the Hernandezes, 10 years ago they were killed. Or they died. Mysteriously.
Well, it didn't even show that they died. It just showed the funeral.
Yeah, it showed the funeral, but that's when we learned that they did die because
but
they were caught on fire. Died. Well, yeah, but now we learned that they were caught on fire and that, their house burned down and that, the Pride was pretty much going in all along itself going, was it Nico's mom because she has a burned hand? Was it,
Yeah.
And it adds a little mystery, but the problem is that it's a mystery that, unlike Riverdale, where the crux of it's the mystery, so every episode you watch goes, oh man, I need to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Here, to me, it feels like this story is meandering and just spinning its wheels.
Mm-hmm.
It's enjoyable. Like I said, this is the best episode at episode 3 so far, but so far, literally nothing really has happened. It's like they're building up. It's like this first season is going to be, oh well, they're going to run away.
Yeah, with the kids anyway. But with the adults, there's actually a little bit of a, hey, I want to keep watching to see what the adults do
And that's
with
exactly it,
Destiny at the
yeah.
end, or with that situation.
Well, that's exactly it. It's the kids seem to just be spinning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, there was a little movement on the Alex Nico potential relationship, which
Yeah, that was kind of cute. In an awful way.
but the Chase Carolina / Gert love triangle. I use air quotes for that because, well, here I use air quotes. I'm drinking that. There, but I use air quotes because I like the way that they're doing Carolina's character as her versus her roots, where she's always been protected and loved by the church.
Yeah.
So I like that they're using that, that to push that. So forcing Chase and the stupid rape thing in, because it's brought up again in this one.
Yeah.
Because the dudes are now like,
he's
trying not to tell her, well, I saved you from a rape, and turning around and just going, oh, these two just want to kick my ass for whatever reason.
Yes.
But here's my thing: if they're on social media, because they didn't message her directly, obviously. But she's like, oh, I saw on social media that these guys are really pissed at you. The logical, this has to be some either I'm too old or too young. Actually, let's rephrase. I'm either too old or not stupid enough to understand this. So the two dudes who Chase kicked the shit out of because they were teammates of his on his lacrosse team, for trying to rape Carolina, are now on social media bitching about him going after them. To me, the reason I say I may be too old for this because anyone under the age of 25-ish, let me know if, regardless, like the minute you post onto Facebook, oh, I'm so gonna kick, Chase's ass. He beat the shit out of me and my friend. Oh, why wouldn't you ask the next logical question? Why? What did you do?
Yeah.
Or why wouldn't Chase then turn around and go, dudes, either drop this whole thing because you know what I caught you doing. You know what I mean? It's like they put themselves into the stupidest, just stupid. But then again, they're lacrosse players. And my experience, lacrosse players have never been smart.
Aggressive.
Yes, aggressive, but not smart.
Well, the ones I knew were at the top of our class. So.
Oh, okay, that's actually not.
They're smart, but they're not
clever.
Well, I wouldn't say clever, but
well, the thing was, anyways, we're not talking.
They lack common sense.
There we go. We can go with that, and then let's move on to another platform. So old lace is loose. What?
Just the way you said it.
Well, so what I do like about I like the Chase and Gert relationship. I love the Chase and Gert relationship in the Runaways comic.
Okay.
Excuse me. You can continue talking while I'm drinking if you want.
Okay. Not sure where to go.
Well, what do you think about the Chase and Gert relationship? It's growing very well.
It is growing.
And it actually feels natural.
It's actually a natural It is natural.
It feels less natural, or it feels more natural than Chase and Carolina's air quote. Like,
yeah,
every time he turns around to her and goes, oh, "I want to go with Carolina," it
yeah.
always feels
Like
forced.
it's
Versus,
just one sided on that one kind of, or just I don't know.
it's not even. That's what I want to say. It's not even a love triangle because Carolina is not going. Well, maybe she is because she did kind of point out that he was really cute in the first episode.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
So
know.
it could be this, but at the same time, Gert and Chase actually interact,
Yeah.
whereas literally the only interaction Chase and Carolina have had. And then yes, again, I'm going to call her Carolina, not Carolina. I don't like the. It's
Yeah.
Carolina with a K.
But I do like how Gert is like kind of cutely jealous of her and Caroline. That's where the triangle comes in.
Well,
Is
yeah,
Chase and
no, I understand it,
yeah.
but it's one of those. There doesn't need to be a triangle there. You had the inside screenwriting 101. Never overcomplicate things when they don't need to be. Chase can still find Carolina hot, but ultimately the relationship to build off is the Gert Chase because Gert and Chase are total polar opposites. Yes, it's cliche,
Horrible.
but you know what I mean? Yes, it's cliche, but it's the it's the story to tell with that relationship.
But I think
Adding in Dakota Fanning lookalike. So yes, I called Carolina the Dakota Fanning lookalike.
okay.
Not to be confused with the Joan Jett, the Runaways movie, which had Dakota Fanning and Kristen Stewart. Kirsten? Kristen. Kristen. Whatever. Anyways, what the hell were we talking about?
The love triangle between Caroline and Chase.
Do we have to?
We don't have to talk about it.
Well, no. If you like it, then talk about
no,
it.
it's just that's where we kind of left off. But I was gonna say something about Gert, and now I can't remember.
I still dislike how literally every other thing she does is the whole SJW thing.
I guess.
You
Yeah.
know, like Chase turning around to her, "Don't be a pussy."
Oh yeah, that.
I will say that I liked that.
I don't like to think of that as a derogatory term.
I liked that interaction because
That
was it was kind of a cute thing, especially in the moment where you can see that she's just trying not to be terrified, so she's just.
Yeah.
But when it's the leather lined ape or the lead lined apron, and she's like, oh well, with the years of patriarchy,
Yeah. It's fair for me to see you, but not for you to see me.
it's just
Because
equal
women
footing,
are
and
objectified by not I objectify.
but that's one of those
Where
things
she
where
went with it.
I know where she was going with it, and what it was just that felt forced.
A little bit.
Like that's the problem with Gert and her characterization is that half of it really does feel forced, and that's not the actress's fault.
No.
I think everyone in this show has been really good with what they're given. But just damn.
that I feel like the Nico Chase. I
You
mean
mean
Nico and
Alex?
Alex. I think that's more cliche than
Oh, it is
the
totally
triangle.
It's totally the most cliche thing, and they made sure to add to it by adding Amy. Because see, there was this in the comics. There was a kind of relationship between the two, not to the extent of like them being caught making out or anything like that, but it was like their friendship that grew into this really deep emotion. I don't actually remember if they dated in the comic.
Like what it looks like they're trying to do with Chase and Gert, or no?
Well, basically. But that's literally how Chase and Gertz did too, because the thing with all the relationships that happened in Runaways, they flowed naturally. The start was here's these, cliches or tropes like, the jock whose parents are super smart, evil scientists. And they took the tropes and that was the starting point in Brian K. Vaughan, then it wasn't let's all do this tropey tale. It was here's where we're starting, and then it became
develop.
Exactly. It became this big, large thing versus what this is doing, which is taking. What I like is that this is actually literally the opposite of the of how the comics went in development.
Mhm.
The Pride in the comics wasn't fleshed out all that well. It was literally, here's the evil scientist tropes, here's the time traveler trope, all your general evil supervillain tropes.
Yeah.
Here they are, here's all the archetypes for, the Kingpin, which was Alex's parents and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Whereas in this, the Pride is what's getting really fleshed out past the point of their tropiness. Even if Nico's dad screwing what's her name is really cliche. But we found out about that last issue, or last episode.
I didn't quite catch it, but
It was when she was texting someone saying, I miss you, and then it cuts over to
oh,
Robert.
okay. Yeah, I didn't catch that.
That's okay. It's we are doing these vlogs literally
That's
right
why.
after we
That's
finish.
probably why I got so mad, is because I didn't see that hint towards it.
Yeah, they've been hinting, but he is such a douche nozzle in this. Like it's not even that he's like he says something that should have really made him feel sympathetic, and that was when Robert is Nico's dad, by the way. He goes, look, the last 2 years you've been shutting me out totally. You become the Ice Queen and shit like that, and now all of a sudden you start moving at 100 miles an hour, and I'm confused. We should have felt sympathetic for him for that because the first 2 episodes we saw did show Nico's mom as this icy bitch.
Mhm.
So when he says that, we should, but she's also not going that fast. You know what I mean?
She's kind of like, hey, go on a date with me.
She's
Hey, maybe
like,
we could sleep together tonight.
literally, she goes, oh, hey, remember when we used to go to that really bad sushi place right around the corner? And, I got, you got so wasted off how sweet the ramune was and stuff like that, or whatever it was. It was a nice story,
sweet.
and, it was her going, look, I'm sorry about how I've been. It wasn't a story of just her shoving him against the wall and sticking her, because she was still going at a slow enough pace that, at least on a story standpoint, because it's a slow enough pace in that it's obviously not, the focus point. So there's tons of jumps in between story, in between. And on a storytelling, again, filmmaking 101, on a storytelling standpoint, if you want something to feel like it's going fast, you don't cut away to it. You don't cut away from it for long periods of time.
Yeah.
But she also just goes, hey, let's go on a date. Hey, just the two of us, let's go out and do something tonight. And Robert, the entire time, is just like, no, you hurt me, no. Showing that he doesn't want to move on.
Yeah.
But then we also see, towards the end of the episode, that he's ready to move in with Chase's mom. And it's like, okay, that's something.
That's moving fast.
See, especially that
Seeing
is
as though
moving
she
fast.
really had no clue that he was thinking that.
Well, that's because I get where they're gonna go. They're gonna go, well, we hooked up because both of our significant others
Neglected us.
exactly closed us off, especially over the last few years. So we needed to find that connection, which is great. But you need to show that they're actually being mistreated. Yeah. Like Robert did buy a lot of good sympathy points in the first episode, where he did talk his wife down from literally closing off the whole of Amy's room.
Yeah.
But God, it's that Amy room story it's that Amy story
angle
that annoys
throws
me.
Everything off.
And it really does. Like, hypothetically, without that, I've already talked about that.
But back to the parents.
Anyways, back to the parents.
Not Nico's. Chase's dad is set up to where you can see he's going kind of insane and has been abusive, neglected towards her.
Well, yeah, but that's because...
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm almost terrified about her mentioning or trying to leave him, that he's gonna snap. Kill her or hurt her.
He already had to kill Destiny.
Yeah, so he's over the deep end.
He is over the deep end, and I like how they play that.
Yeah.
Is that because unlike like him, you could tell he's a workaholic. He's a very
There's true terror in that.
there is, but that's also James Marsters acting, which is phenomenal. James Marsters was Spike on Buffy. He also played Piccolo in Dragon Ball Evolution. Sorry, that's a joke for everyone who's actually watches all 6 of them. But anyways, he's a great actor, so he can really, But even in this episode, we saw a little bit of sympathy, or at least I felt a little bit of sympathy.
He feels guilt. Yeah.
Yeah. So when he's looking, even while he's turning around and looking at his wife, going, "I carry you, I carry this family."
He's really
there's a there's a sympathy to it because he looks like he's about to break down, because he does take, and I may be talking about myself a little here, he does take everything in his world and feels like he has to hold it up. Even if he has this narcissistic thing of I'm awesome.
Yeah.
Even if, like the dematerialization pod thing, that wasn't working.
Yeah.
And, it works out really well to give him some sympathy while still not making him totally sympathetic.
And my question is why weren't all the scientists of the Pride working on that pod? Was it his narcissistic I am better than everybody that made it just his job?
I don't know, honestly. Because that's part of the problem I have with this Pride, is that there is an end goal to be had. They're going to dig up the school, probably build the temple. The end of volume 2, I think.
So probably somewhere in the 2nd season.
No, probably, since they moved that to this, it'll probably be the end of the 1st season. Which is really sad, but they're not going to do half of what I want to do, because they won't do half of what I want them to do, because I don't think they can't. It feels like they Cat, stop that. Thank you. It feels like they don't want to pull the trigger on the Runaways being Runaways.
Yeah.
They're trying to spin their wheels as much as they can before they have to change locations.
And I think between the dinosaur being out and Destiny actually being found dead somewhere, they're gonna book it.
See, I don't think so. I think they're gonna, for the next,
explore it more.
Well, the problem is that we're also like 2 episodes behind everyone else. So, everyone who sees these will go, "Oh no, bro, you gotta wait." And
why are we 2 seasons behind it?
No, not 2 seasons, 2 episodes.
2 episodes. Just because that's what's on Hulu, or
it's a Hulu original show. But no, it's.
I'm just saying, is it because that's what's up on Hulu?
I think episode 5 or 6 is up. Because if I remember rightly, Hulu doesn't do what Netflix does. It's not all at once. They actually try and pace it out.
They do it as they air.
Yeah.
Like the day after they air.
But The Runaways is a Hulu original series.
Oh, then they probably do have the whole season.
Anyways, so where were we? But either way, it feels like they're just spinning their wheels with the kids. So really, the fact that they do up the Pride so well, I love it.
I agree. I love it too.
Actually, before we finish this off, there's one other big plot thing. Right, Molly Hernandez. Yeah, we'll wrap this back to the original. Or to the start. Molly and Alex's mom have a pseudo scene together. I say pseudo.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it is, but it isn't. The reason I brought up Molly's age and how she should know better at this point is that, well, ultimately, okay, here's the scene. Alex's mom, why can't I remember half the parents' name?
I can't remember any names.
But they found one of Molly's little kitty cat hair pieces, even though she had. I don't understand how that worked out.
No, she lost it when
she lost it when when they saw the Pride do their thing, but it was right outside the bookshelf, so they're like, well, it doesn't mean that she saw.
Yeah.
But she had a hat on, too, so that annoys me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
The hat was in her hand when they were running out of there, though. Wasn't it?
I think so. I don't know. But either way, it's a little kitty cat hairpiece that found, so Alex's mom is like, okay, I'm going to go talk to her and find out. I've represented kids because apparently she's a lawyer. I don't think that's been brought up before that, so.
No, it has been that she's a lawyer, not that she's ever worked kids, though.
But either way, and if not, she's going to rohypnol them. Or, it's not rohypnol. It's a special drug like Synergen or something like that. That the York parents, developed for. They did it for PTSD and everything like that. But that's what I don't like about some of the parents is like their motivations for being in the Pride don't make sense. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Nico's mom already had the staff of one. Mm-hmm. Unless they're going to turn around and say that the only reason she got the staff of one was because of this. Either way, so anyways, Alex's mom, then meets up with Molly, who's apparently just randomly at a cafe. Mm-hmm. Me personally, I would be like, okay, what's the 12-year-old doing there alone? Yeah. Especially in this day and age, especially with her parents being that, well, her adoptive parents being that. What's weird is that the York, the Yorks, you could totally tell are just written to be whatever they need to be at the time. Yeah. Because
to a ranch as a guard. That was
funny. They are funny. Like, I like Discount Seth Rogen. Actually, I don't know who plays the dad, but he comes off as a Discount Seth Rogen, and I like him. But so they meet up, and Alex's mom tries asking her, so what are you guys doing there? And then Molly's like, I'm going through some changes. It's weird. I got to go to the bathroom. Then she destroys the bathroom to escape through the wall. Or the window, technically. Which, to me, is like, okay, I get that she's panicky, but it's not even a heat of the moment thing. Like, she stops to actually think about what to do. Yeah. Which is something that, like, quite literally, you're getting called. But quite literally, it'd be easiest.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So your ride? Go do that,
Hello? Al. Hello? Yes?
So anyways, she rips off the toilet and puts it by the window, climbs onto it, and then rips the window off. Now, if you've been, oh my god, I'm a superhero, as in the first episode, would you not just punch the wall? She doesn't even try that. So it becomes this really stupid thing. And then, Alex's mom's like, well, she locked herself in the bathroom, then leaves, and then goes around the building and sees Molly unconscious on the ground because anytime she uses her power now, she just needs to instantly fall asleep. And even then, it's not falling asleep, it's narcolepsy. It's literally going, okay. So, then she turns around, puts her in the car, SUV actually, drives her, wakes her up to talk to her because she needs to know what happened because if Molly knows something, they've got to inject her with the memory eraser thing. I know. Helpful. But, and then Molly goes, well, they sent me to make sure you guys weren't doing anything so they could raid your liquor cabinet. Which is smart. And honestly, it shows that Alex's mom could totally be believing her until she starts doing something that a 12 to 13-year-old would do, but not in this poorly acted way. Molly then goes, no one believes the little adopted girl, and she tries playing the adoption thing. And that scene just was really bad. Like, to me, the basics of the scene was not bad. The one with Molly and Alex's mom in the car.
Yeah.
The basic idea of it was really good.
Intense.
You know, there was an intensity and everything to it. But then the intensity totally broke when Molly then just started going, you don't believe me, do you? You know what I mean? To me, that was way too childish.
See, that would have brought a red flag up for me that she was playing it up.
Exactly. That's the same thing for me. And I'm hoping that Alex's mom, because she literally...
I would have left it as, like, the kids are kind of taking advantage of me.
Like, literally at that one, it would have been,
you don't believe me.
Because she sets up the perfect argument, I was sent to make sure, so they could raid your liquor cabinet. Okay,
yeah, I would have loved
that's teen stuff. That's exactly what they do.
It's exactly what she needed to get off the hook.
But then you don't believe me. No one believes a little adopted girl. Wah, wah, wah.
That would have sent red flags for me. Okay, she's using that as a cover.
Exactly. Excuse me. I've been coughing and sneezy all day. That's what I do with living with cats. But, so, ultimately, and that's why I said, like, if Molly Hernandez was 10 years old, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe that could have flowed.
Yeah, but saying that she's over 12 now.
But yeah, making her, just into her teens rather than rather than really young. Yeah. You lose so much of what would make the character, the character's foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like seeing Tom Cruise try and pretend to be young in films now. It's like Tom Cruise in The Mummy, okay? He's supposed to be playing this young, 20, 30 something. But it's Tom Cruise. He hasn't been 20, 30 something in like 60 years. I kid. I know he's not that old. Well, I know he's old, but... Anyways. So let's wrap this up real quick. What do you think?
Overall, I think it was actually the best so far.
Fair point. Favorite, least favorite? How about this? Who's your favorite character so far?
That's harder.
Well, you don't need to...
Well, I was gonna go with... My least favorite part is that Robert has, like, no want on his... Like, he doesn't actually want to even consider his wife's...
Feelings.
Like, anything. She's obviously trying to say, I realized I was messing up. Can we try to move on? And he wants nothing to do with it. That kind of bugs me a lot.
It bugs me too. I know we talked about it earlier, but it's because there's no emotional backing to anything he's done.
Yeah.
Like, first episode you saw... Yeah. Like, well, you're supposed to not see the no emotion from her until this episode.
Yeah.
And Robert's shown...
Her, but not for him.
Like, even in the first episode, Robert showed that he had... he still wanted this family to work and everything like that.
Yeah.
So dropping this is like, that's a pointless bomb, because at least the last episode you just saw, I miss you, I need you, or stuff like that in the text, which then you could read as, okay, they're having a thing, but look at how, he's still showing that he wants this family to work, whereas this one is literally him just going, fuck it.
Yeah.
So it's... Yeah,
it was painful.
It was. It really was. I understand it was painful for you on an emotional level, but for me, a writing level, like, oh my god. And I agree with you. I actually really like this episode, as much as I do have things to, complain about from it. It's at least showing that it's trying something new. Mm-hmm. And with that said, anything you'd like? Any final thoughts? Any final things?
I think my favorite thing is, as weird and random as it is, the dinosaur has a nose ring.
Yeah, that was awesome in the comics too. But Old Lace also had better facial expressions in the comics, but
well,
it was a comic
versus this trying to be a real dinosaur.
Which the effects aren't so cool. Horrible.
No, they're actually kind of decent.
And with all that said, tell us what you think in the comments below. Also, if you want us to check out another show like Riverdale or like Arrow, we'll start back at season 1 because, man, I liked season 1 after really crappy couple first episodes. So, if you want us to cover a show, movie, comic-related media outside of comics themselves, let us know in the comments below, and we will probably do them. I'm really looking forward to getting a box set for the serials that, I'll show you hopefully if it comes in. Anyways, don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and as always, please check out our Patreon. It's got some exclusive content up there. You guys will be helping not only me out, but my lovely girlfriend, as well as both my kids, because I did decide to. Some of my Patreon goals are literally overly nerdy dad things, like I build them a Batmobile, I build them a Batcave. No idea where that'll be now that I'm in this house, but still. And of course, it'll help the shows. Yeah. So as always, I'm the Archivist. She's not. And stay golden, Inklings.